Chris Classic dropping a car vlog. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Nobody chose you today. Remember that God loves you, Christ loves you, and I love you as well. Stay warm in this weather. Apparently, the United States had a cold for a whole week, so make sure y'all warm up, eat some soup, stay warm, and everything. Especially with this weather in the Midwest. It's cold, and then it be bright and cold, then it be snowing cold, then it be all that. So make sure y'all stay warm. Make sure you subscribe to the Take It Home podcast, where I talk about professional wrestling topics, and I put in my matches as classic out for a professional wrestler of 13 years. A good Lord see it. Did it for 14 in March. Grateful for wrestling. I went to practice yesterday, and man, I am so happy that I go to practice and I be involved with it. I feel like a better classic than I was last month. Cardio is better. I feel like conditioning is a lot better. So thank you for the people who believe in me, and thank God for giving me this thing of wrestling, and I don't want to slip and mess it up. But make sure you subscribe to this channel for wrestling content, and you also see me a professional wrestler. You see my playlist of classic alpha matches. I try to record all my matches so you people can see it and you can watch it. You know, I'm not just a person, no shade to anybody, but not a person that just talks about it and be saying this stuff. Like, I am in this business. I am part of the wrestling business. And speaking of business, we're getting ready for big business on C3 Ultimate Wrestling. That is the second YouTube channel that you guys need to sub to. That is me and my wife's professional wrestling company. We celebrated 7 years of being a company last week. And we still going forward. February 21st, Dyer, Indiana, on state line between Illinois and Indiana. Harold's private venue. Get your tickets for the first show of 2026. Tickets are available on Eventbrite. They are $5 off on Eventbrite, but they'll be $5 more at the door. Bars. You know, I've been watching wrestling for about 30 years. For about 30 years, I've been watching WWE, and basically I've been watching WWF, then went to WWE. And back then I was also watching WCW. I remember watching both. And the reason why I love wrestling, I was introduced, was my great-grandfather who was watching it. It was channel switching between WCW and WWE, because one would come on an hour early, and he would switch between, commercial break, I'm going to go to Raw. Commercial break, I'm going to go to Monday Nitro. It's one of the reasons why I loved wrestling. And when I was coming up, we didn't have cable at the time. And eventually when we did, man, I was just enamored in wrestling. And then hearing the schedule, this comes on Monday, this comes on Thursday, this comes on Saturday. I was thirsty for wrestling. To the fact that now I've been wrestling for 14 years after meeting my wife, who wrestled before she even met me. Shout out to my beautiful wife, Sensational Shay. But I've always watched it. I watched WWE. I watched WCW. I've seen when WCW closed their doors in 2001. And I seen when Shane McMahon showed up saying that he owned WCW. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is a shocker. It was so shocking to see Shane McMahon on WCW television. It was so shocking at the time. Even though WCW is doing some horrible stuff with the NWO and David Arquette and stuff like that, I did not know, because I was a child, I did not know that they were closing doors, that they were losing money and they were on sale. I had no idea. So, didn't know about it. And then when you look at the rise and fall of WCW, look at wrestlers speaking about it, you be like, dang, man, it was only a matter of time. What's going on, y'all? What's going on? So we had WWE for a time. You know, WWE eventually bought ECW. Then TNA came around. I'm watching WWE still, but I'm watching TNA. TNA had great stuff. Our first time seeing AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels, Elix Skipper, America's Most Wanted, which is Bobby Roode, you know. Not Bobby Roode, Chris Harrison, his partner. Then Beer Money came with James Storm and Bobby Roode, but Bobby Roode with the Canadians, and, you know, the payoff from Tracy Brooks. Like, I remember it. Jay Lethal, Sanjay Dutt, Jeff Jarrett, R-Truth. I remember all of this stuff because I was a big wrestling fan. But one thing that was very constant in this was I was watching WWE almost every week. Almost every week. If I had to work when I became an adult, or I had other things to do, I'd find a way to watch it or whatever like that. Fast forward now, I am slowly but surely losing interest in watching WWE television. And not even with AEW. AEW came in, was a breath of fresh air for a lot of people, because a lot of people was like, oh, well, you know, Guys from the indies who WWE don't look or don't know how to treat, they can go to AEW and then they can be elevated. And it worked for some people and it didn't work. But I kind of checked out of AEW way before I checked out of WWE, right? So I find myself just slowly but surely just checking out of WWE and AEW. Basically wrestling that's on mainline television. And that's fine. I don't see a problem with it. Could I go back to watching it and being more curious? Sure, but and this isn't like, oh, I'm on strike, because some people do that, and shout out to y'all, but I'm not gonna watch it till it get better. Sometimes you just get tired of it, and it's like, I guess I'm getting there after 30 years of watching WWE, growing up, almost 40 now, just watching it. I just get checked out of it, and I'd be like, oh, I just look at the clips. I have Netflix and I can watch it live, but I just choose not to. I feel like I have better things to do with my time sometimes. And even the clips, I used to like to go back and watch the clips. I do plan to eventually, but still, I didn't watch a couple PLEs. And I was like, oh, well, I guess I'll just watch it when I can. And then it's just like you just get lost in the sauce. I haven't watched War Games. I'm not going to watch War Games. War Games was what, two months ago? And that's fine. So what does that mean? That means that I just don't want to watch it. And it's not like and let me say this. I want to be very transparent with you people. It's not of a political thing. It doesn't bother me about the stuff about politics. It doesn't bother me about Saudi Arabia and them and stuff like that. I can see why people are upset and stuff like that. I'm not even upset about that. The ticket prices, yeah, a little upsetting, but that's what they're going to do at the end of the day, and they're not going to stop anytime soon. Celebrities coming in and wrestling more often, it is what it is, But to me, honestly, I don't know. I'm finally just getting tired of, them trying to play people for a fool. I think you should never try to play your consumers for a fool at all. You should never. What's going on, Robert Brown? Should never play the consumers as a fool. You just never should. Now, WWE, they're at the point where they're getting money before the ink dries, right? They're getting paid and stuff like that. So obviously they do not care. They don't care about it, but still, it's just like when you drop shows like Unreal, and you try to sit here and you try to make a story, like you're pulling the curtain back, exposing the business, but you're also lying still. You're lying twice. You're lying in scientific notations. You literally are, because you are trying to do damage control about the situation. Idea. For example, R-Truth said he was let go. And, the contract. You just have to ask people to extend your contract, and since you didn't want to, y'all just gonna play in people's face. And to me, I don't like that, because I already don't like that the business is exposed as it is. It's not just WWE's fault. It's wrestlers' fault. So honestly, it's the wrestlers' fault. It's a lot of the wrestlers' fault, man, because what happens is a lot of these wrestlers have vlogs. They go live, like I'm doing. They bring it to the locker room. They'll take a picture with the person who basically kicked their dog. Like they have a blood feud for them kicking the dog, and they'll sit here, they'll take pictures, and we friends and all this. We're going out to eat, and okay, we cool. And women be selling their spicy content with a girl who basically made her bloody with a shoe. But now y'all friends and y'all taking pictures for y'all OF. To me, it's not as sacred as it needs to be. And this isn't saying I'm stopping away from wrestling. I want to say that too. I will be a wrestler till I can't wrestle anymore. To me, I've been spending a lot more time with practicing. I've been going to practice, and with C3, trying to do more stuff with C3. Big announcement tomorrow. Make sure you guys are listening and look out for a big announcement tomorrow concerning C3. Trying to make C3 the company that fans need. Fans need pro wrestling. They need great stories. They need stuff. They want to have fun. They want to bring their families out and stuff like that. What they don't want is the people to be like, haha, I got you. Now, you can do swerves and you can do certain things like that, and that's definitely fine. But it's just like when you sit here and just be oblivious to certain things. We have people that's supposed to be in this business, been in this business for years, honestly, and then you know that that pains that they can't do it anymore because of medical issues and stuff like that. And when they turn around and become super corporate and try to lie and have an attitude with certain people when they're chanting people's names and stuff like that, who can't take the brunt. You're the head of the ship, and how you handle stuff make people determine if they still want to buy the product. yes, kids will love wrestling because some aren't invested in the wrestling. In story. They're invested more into wrestling. But when you turn around and you're like, oh, we got you guys. Oh, you didn't know. Oh, I don't see this and I don't see that. And as a person who doesn't like to bring up color a lot when it comes to wrestlers not getting pushed and getting opportunities and stuff like that, y'all hide that very bad. Y'all lie very bad when it comes to these certain situations. The fact that people can say, oh, well, this person hasn't wrestled since such and such, or this didn't happen this, and this didn't happen that. And then even people's frustrations with Jade Cargill, who's a women's champion, and I'm a big fan of, obviously, who has little to no defenses outside of just wrestling non-title matches, but that's not title defenses. I get it, but at the same time, presentation is everything. And it's like when you sit here and just like and lie, and I just see talent and stuff like that, and you have all of these people that are talented, and albeit everybody that's talented, they cannot be elevated. Everybody cannot have a championship. It's not AEW. This is one of the reasons why I'm kind of checking out of AEW too. Because, you know, with AEW, the thing is, they're supposed to be the alternative style, and they are. And that could be a good and a bad thing, right? I think that AEW can get better. I just don't think they're not going to get better. They're just doing what the fans want in the building. But you need to do more about what all the fans around the world want to see and stuff. There's so many people that say they support AEW, but they're not going to pay-per-views. They're not buying merch. They're not doing none of this stuff. They're not doing the stuff that they want to do, y'all. A lot of people ask them, and then it's just like AEW's fan base, I feel like, is like holding water in your hand. So you're not going to get more. It's just going to go through your hands. You're just going to lose it. And that's exactly what's happened with AEW. The storylines, their match qualities and stuff like that. And I'll say this, WWE, to me, from what I see, they have better matches. It's just that we want to care about more people and different people and stuff like that. You guys do a bad job with trying to do certain things, right? Storyline purposes and stuff. Like, you would have never thought since Vince left that there would be so many like crazy storylines that just either don't make sense or was kind of dumb. Or even when a wrestler wins a championship, we sit here and we try to figure out how long they're going to have it instead of actually like enjoying it and stuff like that. Like I said, they have the money. And this is a problem when you get to the top. Sometimes people get too comfortable at the top. And WWE is definitely with that, you know, going to the highest bidder and stuff like that. That's still crushing. As much as a business decision it is, you know, to promote WrestleMania this year was supposed to be in Louisiana. And to have Lil Wayne verse and, you know, the block is hot and all of that stuff and getting the heavy only to a few months, dang near weeks later to be like, nah, we just gonna do it in Las Vegas because you want to make the money. It's just sad. It's a little disheartening that he lost, and then saying that they're going to get like a Royal Rumble or something, and then they could possibly lose that. Like, to me, that's just crazy to me, right? That is definitely crazy. Like, nothing wrong with having like the highest bidder, especially if you didn't announce it. You announced that you was going to do stuff in New Orleans, in Louisiana, and you didn't. Like, come on, man. Like, you probably lost fans off of that. Like I said, and I want to reiterate, nothing wrong with the highest bidder, but it is a problem to me when you say you are going to be at one spot and then you change it, and it wasn't due like a weather or disaster or something happening. It's just, oh, well, we're just going to do this. Like I said, as far as some of the decisions of like Saudi Arabia, which I'm saying it sucks for American fans because they want to go to WrestleMania. Some people probably was like, well, we'll go next year. We'll go next year. Now, if you do want to go, you got to go way over there. And some people aren't going to go over there, but still, it is disheartening. But at the same time, you would think that they would have did like a little better. Like the ESPN deal, that obviously they're getting more money than they were getting in Peacock. But still, there's just the fact that people don't want to pay $30-something a month for something that's not as great. Like the matches, they be alright. They don't be bad, but they be alright. And some of it do be bad, and that's my problem. I'm not paying $35 a month for alright wrestling. I'm not. I'm definitely not. I still have Peacock because I forgot that I subscribed to it. And I did watch Saturday night's main event. And honestly, the majority of the matches was good. Can't really call Cody and Jacob's match a match, but still, like, it was okay. I just think the plot, like I said, people like Sammy is going to feel the fire and the brunt from people who don't like certain things because of he's the example. Honestly, Sammy is the example of what people are tired of when it comes to WWE. I think a lot of people have been very vocal about we don't need people chasing the title for a whole year and all of this other stuff. We don't need all of that. And that's what it's looking like is going to happen if he doesn't win in that Royal Rumble. And then again, it's just like, obviously, you guys show so much stuff with your TV shows and stuff. People are like, oh, well, they obviously want to keep Cody because obviously the higher ups, they love Cody. And there's nothing wrong with Cody. But honestly, there's some things that Cody could have, I mean, not Cody, but they should have changed about Cody and stuff. Him getting into a feud with Jacob and saying that Jacob basically, because he acts overthinking, lands him in jail. What does that do for Cody saying that? What does that do for Cody? Like, did Cody say that to the Usos when they was dealing with their stuff? And even when Jay was like slipping up, and remember they was like Jay was sloppy. He was tripping off of doing spears. His dive outs was crazy. His bumps was crazy. And then they was trying to have like Jimmy like speak to him saying, hey man, you need to do better if you want to be a champion. Cody's supposed to be one of his aces. How come he ain't telling him something about that? He didn't, right? So it's just like, to me, just going left field. And if this is supposed to elevate Jacob, was it really necessary? You should have just let Jacob say something first about it. Then maybe you let it dwindle. So still, how's it going? I miss Vince's crazy stories. I hope all is well, Amy. Vince would have at least made the tickets. He would have at least made the ticket prices available for the families. I'm not saying that Vince needs to come back. I'm not saying please Vince come back. I'm not saying that, because regardless of how much people can't stand Paul or what he's doing, I don't think having him back helps. Now, I also will say, off of assumption, Paul may not be the great guy to be trying to lead the reins of WWE. I think Nick, who I don't even know much about, probably should be the one doing it, honestly. Should be the better representative and stuff, because like I said, Paul doesn't do great under pressure. Paul can't do the Vince stuff and the blanket statements. You can't do that because, one, you have a show where you open up stuff and you're showing people how you do things. Also, when you have The Rock, who comes in and says, hey, we're doing big things, let me tell you what we're doing, why don't you enjoy the ride? But you're literally telling us what the GPS is trying to, you're literally beating the GPS about the directions that you're trying to take the company. Or when The Rock can act like the final boss and then turn around and be like, hey, I'm Dwayne, within the same interview, wearing the same shoes, the same socks, pants, slacks, vest, with no shirt. You can say to him and say that. Or he can go to Pat McAfee's show and say, oh, WrestleMania was bad and it should have been better, but I didn't show up because I wasn't needed. And mind you, he was a part of a big thing that happened with Travis Scott, who they no longer use to do business with. And having Jelly Roll, nothing against Jelly Roll as a person that's very, very tired and wasn't very solid in his wrestling moves, and let him do some stuff. And we sit here and we want better wrestling, and that kind of spot went to somebody that could have did it. And I don't have nothing against celebrities wrestling. Bad Bunny, Logan Paul, they're doing great jobs at doing wrestling stuff. But still, you guys want to train Travis, and you guys had Jelly Roll in there and stuff, and it just didn't work. And that's what's making me lose interest. Because it's not interesting. It's not interesting. There's a lot of things, and I encourage fans, if you do feel like you're checking out of WWE or even AEW, watch C3 Ultimate Wrestling. You know I'm going to plug my business. You know I'm going to plug my brand. But there's other wrestling companies that can give you what you want, honestly. If you feel like there's a lack of representation with minorities, there's C3. I don't really promote it like that, but it is what it is. And I'm not ashamed of it at all. There's Ashe. There's Black Wrestlers Matter. There's a lot of companies that do that. If you have some stuff for Lucha, there's All-Star Lucha Libre, there's CMLL, there's LLT. I don't know if they still do things. There's a lot of companies that have things. They have other companies and stuff like that. True Privilege Wrestling. You have things online on the internet. Since they want to use and expose everything online and on the internet, just look up some stuff. I'm telling you, you can find what you're looking for as far as wrestling. It doesn't have to be in WWE. And Seth, speaking of the thing about Seth, look at even how the people they're doing business with don't even care about anything and surprises and stuff. This is something that should have been said before the cameras got on. So I don't know if you guys know, but Seth was on one of the ESPN channels promoting Royal Rumble and also have an injury. Now, a lot of us is going to speculate that Seth is going to return any minute. It doesn't matter. That's not the case here. The case is the guy who he spoke to said, oh, well, the Royal Rumble is around the corner, and we're going to see guys like you showing up at the Royal Rumble. How's it feel? So you literally don't even care. And I'm not even saying that that's on his point, the guy's part. I don't know what his name is. But still, this is something that you're supposed to protect. Excuse me. Wrestling is not protect television anymore. And I think that's what bothers me as well. So, like I said, slowly but surely, I'm not interested in it. Older wrestlers are winning the championships again. You know, we had a guy that spoke about this kind of stuff, and then now he has a belt, makes a lot of money and stuff, and, you know, his lady, shout out to his lady and stuff, they out here, they doing whatever they want to do, they can wrestle, or they can chill and get paid money off of it, and, you know, kind of being like the person that you said you didn't want to be, but hey, it is what it is. Guy's great, still a good wrestler, you know, he's just not a spring chicken anymore, still. CM Punk looking, oh, yep, it is what it is. It ain't true champions. Like, and I'm not mad at Drew. It's just the fact that Drew is going to be more of a transitional champion more than anything. I think Drew should have been a champion a long time. I think Drew could beat Cody without all of this antics of kicking him in the balls or Jacob being there and stuff like that still. So it's sad. Yeah, but look at the bright side. No, I mean, look at the bright side of this live. Funny. Shout out to you, S&P. I hope everything's well with you. I'm losing interest in WWE by decision. Yeah, it's like, when y'all sit here, y'all say that y'all booked, right? Y'all get together and y'all showing y'all creative room, which is something that y'all shouldn't have did. Y'all shouldn't have did it, bro. Hey, it is what it is. Y'all don't, wrestling don't own WWE. TKO owns WWE, so I'm sure there's not a little to no pushback about, hey, why don't you tell these guys how do you do these things and how did this stuff happen and stuff like that. And then that's when fans have a sense of entitlement that you guys should tell us everything that goes on. And then when people actually talk to you guys and ask questions, that's when you get mad. Like I said, WWE was doing a thing where they was letting people who have media and podcasts, they were asking questions like AEW was doing. But as soon as Brock came back into the picture, they didn't do it. They don't do it anymore. So now it's just like, okay, well, obviously they're going to ask stuff about Brock, but still, eventually they would have said something that flustered Triple H. Paul. It is what it is. It makes the champions look weak for Drew. They dropped the ball. They did. They dropped it. And I've always said, like, wrestling sometimes has a lack of believability because they want it to be lack of believable. They just want to have moments. Sometimes you can dip and dabble into reality. For Drew McIntyre to be 6'5", 270 something pounds, and you know, acting like a coward and all of this other stuff, and it's stupid. And it's like certain things is just disrespecting our minds. Like Cody bringing up Jacob's prison past when last month or beginning of this month you broke into somebody's house, and we just supposed to be like, oh, well, that's different. No, it's not. It's illegal. You should go to jail for that. I'm just saying, dip and dabble into certain realities and stuff like that. And it's just like, you know, it's hard for y'all to do that because y'all keep trying to show stuff. And then when things go bad, all they're going to do is turn it into a storyline. Oh, well, we tried to do this and it just didn't work and stuff like that. It just didn't work. So we tried to do this and we tried to do that. Like the R-Truth thing, I'm going to keep bringing it up. Telling us, oh, basically, we didn't extend his contract. He didn't get released because he didn't ask. And then you hear these stories of wrestlers who did get released, and they're saying they were trying to stay, they were trying to find something to do, and WWE shut everything down. Like, they're literally asking, they're literally begging to not let them go, and you still let them go. So that's something to say. It's just something to say. But I believe that I'm starting to lose interest when they're moving their stuff at Saudi. And they even moving international stuff because they're not selling in the U.S. like they should. Honestly, let me get some water real quick. That's a good point. That's some good ice water. Honestly, SMP, I feel like the main source of what they do, which are American audiences for the main part, we getting the short end of the deal when it comes to certain things or certain access to WWE, even for streaming services. In America, we have to use ESPN now, and that's a lot of money. But international, they can use the network, or they can use Peacock, or they can even use Netflix. Like, they can use Netflix. A lot of us have Netflix, but they can use Netflix for that kind of stuff, for certain things. And it's like, dog, you are an American-owned company, and dude, like, people have been rocking with y'all for years and been very, very supportive. And then it's just like, you guys went to the ESPN stuff and all of this, and now it's like costs way more money. And the other countries and stuff like that, they have a cheaper thing. And I'm not saying that they should pay as much as we do. I'm just saying, heck, we need to have it as cheaper as they do. I mean, even Stephanie, who has her own podcast, she's speaking about VPNs, and you can use her VPN and all of this other stuff because, come on, man, like, it's why should people try to fight and claw for wrestling that ain't even that good? It's like, y'all sending wrestling. Like, bring back the quality y'all had during COVID. I feel like the Thunderdome and after that and stuff, like, trust me, people started paying more attention to WWE, and then with Roman Reigns and stuff, and then with the Bloodline, and then all of that stuff. The thing that made the Bloodline great and stand out is because they had great stories and other stuff that was also great. Bloodline story stuff was greater. You will go for the Bloodline, but you would stay for the other wrestling. I can't say I see that now in WWE with whatever they got going on. I just can't. I cannot. I can't sit here and say I'm going or I'm staying for anything. Like, y'all need to have that I'm going for Bloodline, but I'm staying for Bianca, Rhea, Io, the Hurt Business when they were there, LA Knight, Jacob Fatu, Cody Rhodes. You can put it up there with the Bloodline storyline if you want to. Y'all don't have that anymore. And then even then, I'm going to bring up Jay. Jay is one of the most over wrestlers, but he's one of the most sloppiest wrestlers too. And to see here, I could go all day about this, but I'm not going to. Jay is very popular. Kids love him. My daughter love him. Yeet and all of that. Know his name. But he's one of the most sloppiest wrestlers out there. So when you turn around and Paul Levesque say, oh, I don't see color, I see talent. And this guy the talent has been sloppy, has been inconsistent. They've been on Raw, him and his brother. Well, I know his brother I know Naomi gonna have a baby soon. Shout out to them, but they're doing promos. Y'all the champions. Y'all should be wrestling. Just like y'all said about Jade, right? They doing promos. Jay's known to be lit sometimes. He was lit when John Cena retired. Talked about his old ace catches and almost cursed. And he a champion. He's your representative. You don't see talent, though. I mean, you don't see color. You see talent. And that's not even more on the color part. It's on the talent. You see talent. That's not talented to be lit on live TV. That's easy to do, actually. So when you just keep doing stuff, you keep insulting intelligence, and I'm like, okay, well, now I can just watch better wrestling. And I feel like now there is better wrestling out there. Oh, will I watch stuff from time to time? Sure, maybe. I feel like it. But like I said, if I miss something, I miss something. Royal Rumble is promising because it's one of my favorite events, but It's not something I'm going to spend on ESPN. I'm just not. Yeah, that promo was a bit heel. Yeah, it's crazy. But even in the reality show, it shows that their writers are getting confused with doing these stories. Yeah, because you having like 5 or 6 people, and these 5 or 6 people, they supposed to keep up with one storyline, but then also keep up with other storylines as well. This is coming from somebody that don't watch it. I've seen a few clips. I just can't watch it. I don't need to watch it, in my opinion. It's too much talking, and the talking ain't even good. They used to start off Raw with 20-minute promos. They don't even be that good no more. So it's like, what's the point? Yeah, speak about what you want about New Day, but at least you saw tag teams working when they were champs. You saw War Machines and others. And that's another thing, too. New Day literally got it out the mud, because you remember that crowd booed them because they wanted them to be the new nation so bad. Ooh, the new nation. They wanted them to be the new nation. And they turned around and was like, with the church music and the clapping and the twerking and all that other stuff, they booed them until they started dissing the crowd. Then the crowd loved them. They bought the socks. I remember the cereal. Cereal was selling out everywhere. Shirts was selling out everywhere. The unicorn thing on the head selling out everywhere. People going crazy for it and stuff like that, because they saw talent. They saw talent then. What happened? What happened with them? Like I said, this ain't even a hate to Jay, but we know that Jay Uso can do better, and he should do better. Y'all need to tell him that. And I've heard clips that are telling him that he needs to do better, but he ain't been doing better. He literally went against CM Punk for the top title on Raw, and it was sloppy. Now, Punk messed up a couple times too. He did, but still. Just saying, man. It's just, when you try to say something and then you obviously doing the opposite, then that's definitely a problem. It's definitely a problem. I'm just saying. So, the tag division was good then. When the New Day lost the tag titles to whoever they lost them to, see, I don't even remember. And they dressed up in the funeral clothes saying it's the death of the tag team division. It literally was the death of the tag team division. They have makeshift tag teams. Hey, let's just be a tag team. They wind up being the tag champs. That's on Raw. SmackDown, the MFTs, they won it against the Wyatt Six, who won it against the Street Profits, who we ain't seen since when? I don't know when the last time we seen the Street Profits. You know, they had them winning on what, Bray's birthday or something, but still, they wasn't wrestling every week. They wasn't showing up every week and stuff like that. And it's just like, to me, they are at a bad time of coming in with everybody exposing stuff. Remember when they debuted, somebody took a picture with them without their gear at the Waffle House. The Waffle House. That's some real clips also. I think AJ's been wrestling very well lately and he's retiring, so then what? AJ is a highlight in WWE. One, because he's still wrestling like he was 20 years ago, 30 years ago, damn near. Still wrestling like that. Still doing good, and he's still respected. And a lot of people know that soon he will be out of there, right? And then even to the point where Shinsuke, he uploaded a tweet or something, a post, saying that basically he talked to AJ, and AJ said that Royal Rumble was his last wrestling appearance in WWE, and then it was deleted. Now you know they're going to put that on Unreal, and I don't even want to see that crap. I don't even want to see that crap. But still, you know you're going to do it. AJ, because people love AJ, respect AJ. You're going to be sad when AJ leaves and stuff. Gunther's good TV. Gunther is good TV and stuff like that, and what they doing with Gunther and stuff like that. But still, you know, if AJ does stay after Royal Rumble, if he beats Gunther somehow, they're going to use it as an Unreal thing. They're going to use it, and that's the thing. They're going to try to use Unreal as a scapegoat when it comes to certain things with wrestling. They're going to use it. Oh, well, if it doesn't work, we're going to say, oh, well, we talked about this at the board. So like I said, slowly losing interest in WWE. Support great wrestling. Great wrestling can be on TV, but you're going to see some real great wrestling in C3 Ultimate Wrestling. Make sure you guys tune in to this channel and C3's channel tomorrow. Big announcement. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thanks for rocking with me. This is Chris Classic. Let's take it home.